top story. The new jobs report shows the labor market is cooling off, adding 73,000 jobs in July. That's much worse than expected. The unemployment rate also ticked up to 4.2%. The Dow dropped nearly 500 points at the open, but markets are also reacting to President Trump's new executive order laying out tariffs against nearly 70 countries. White House correspondent Karen Travers and ABC News business reporter Alexis Christoforous has more on all of that. So, Alexis, let's start with the jobs report. It's not just this low number for July. We also saw May and June get revised downward pretty significantly.
Big time revisions downward, Diane, and that's what a lot of economists are pointing to. That's the big takeaway in this report. Not only did we add fewer than expected jobs last month, as you said, 73,000, we were expecting 100,000, but in May and June collectively, 258,000 fewer jobs were added. So if you look at May, June, and July put together, the U.S. economy added just 106,000 jobs. Before this report, economists were pointing to a jobs market that seemed very resilient and solid despite a lot of economic uncertainty. This report now may be showing some cracks in the job market, which could have negative implications for the overall economy.
And Karen, just hours before that jobs report came out, the president issued this executive order on these new tariffs. They range anywhere from 10 to 41%. And now they're not set to take effect for another 7 days. So what's the White House saying about how they determined these rates and the timing?
Yeah, they were looking at trade deficits that the United States has with countries all around the world. So, Diane, everybody is now facing that 10% tariff. That's the baseline tariff. And then nearly 70 countries are looking at tariff rates on the goods that we import from those countries between 15 to 40%. Just to note on what Alexis was saying, the administration acknowledging today that the revisions on the jobs numbers over the previous months are not what they wanted to see. Not a good report, especially coming on today when they're rolling out this major economic policy that has experts concerned about what this could mean for American consumers. When you look at how these tariffs are going to go into effect now over the coming weeks, there could be a lag time in terms of what we see about prices going up. But experts have been saying for months now that this is likely to hit American consumers. There's one estimate that says that American households could see $2,400 of an increase in what they're paying for food, electronics, cars, and other household goods over this year. But again, it might not happen right away because these will not take effect now for a couple more weeks.
Alexis, how much are employers attributing this slowdown in hiring to the president's trade policies?
I think you really just need to look at the bottom line, and that tells the story. We're in the middle of earnings season. S&P 500 companies are out with their earnings. About a third have already reported. And of those companies, many are pointing to trade policies for either a negative outlook, for a clouded outlook for their profits. Maybe their profits were already hit last quarter. And this plays into this, I think, the psyche of the consumer, the psyche of other businesses, sort of fearful to pull the trigger and hire more employees when they know that they can be strapped, that profit margins may be squeezed because of these tariffs.
All right. Karen, meanwhile, the federal appeals court is questioning President Trump's authority to impose tariffs without Congress. So what comes next there?
Yeah, this is a real legal challenge for the administration on the president's tariffs, and it could take a couple more weeks before we hear anything out of that federal appeals court. No matter what happens, it is widely expected that the losing side will take this up to the Supreme Court. But yesterday, there was deep skepticism from those appeals court judges that the administration, the president, has the authority to enact these tariffs through the emergency statute that they're doing this under, saying that there's no mention of the word tariffs in the law that they were using, and it's never been used before on tariff policy. So we have to wait and see. It could take a couple of weeks, but Diane, the administration says that if this goes against them, it could create a foreign policy crisis.
All right, Karen Travers, Alexis Christoforous, thank you both.